he gets to escape prison, he's a target. There's a green light on him from all the gangs, all the people that love Nipsey Hussle. And so his life in prison is going to be hell for as long as it lasts.
Even being in jail, like, where you from? I'm Lil Shitty from 6-0. Yeah, like Shitty. Yeah, I'm Lil Shitty from 6-0. What's up? Oh, you know the other man on the hood. Stop talking to me about cuz. You get what I'm saying? Like, it really like affected a whole lot right there. Like, oh yeah, we ain't with that Shitty. Like, so what is you saying? Like, I really had to be on defense mode because it's like, at this point, like, you know what I'm saying, the idiot might go for it thinking that I'm closer to the little nigga than what I am. Every time they ask me about him, I'm aggressive. It also added pressure inside the jail system on me. Not to say that it was some pressure I couldn't handle, but shit, it definitely was like a whole different turn for shit. You got like homies coming to jail and they been talking on the streets, talking about they gonna get all of the shitties out the way and all that, and I've been hearing it, so when I see them, I'm, nigga, what's up? I heard you been looking for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the deal? You know, niggas wasn't on nothing though. They was just talking, but you know me, I don't do too much talking.
It wasn't random, but a personal act that shook the culture. Why did Eric Holder turn on his own friend Nipsey Hussle after a short conversation? On a quiet Sunday afternoon in March 2019, South Los Angeles lost a man who had become more than just a rapper.
Having faith and putting your money where your mouth is and putting your actions into or your faith into motion and believing, you know, you got to believe in yourself first. If you don't let the water in the boat can never sink. No matter how rough the ocean get, the water got to get in a boat for the boat to go down.
Ermias Joseph Asgedam, known to the world as Nipsey Hussle, was killed outside his Marathon clothing store in the Crenshaw district, the neighborhood he had dedicated himself to uplifting.
Grammy-nominated rapper Nipsey Hussle was gunned down outside his LA clothing store today. Police say the 33-year-old was one of 3 people shot this afternoon. Fans gathered at the scene after hearing about the shooting on social media. They called him an inspiration, say he was active in his community.
But his death was not random. It was the result of a brief, intense encounter with another man from the same neighborhood, Eric Holder Jr. Their lives, though seemingly on divergent paths, intersected that day with tragic consequences that sent shockwaves far beyond Los Angeles.
You know, it was just a straight hater move. That's all it was, a straight hater move.
Nipsey Hussle's journey was one of remarkable success and reinvestment. He had risen from the streets, releasing mixtapes that gained him national recognition and eventually a Grammy-nominated debut album, Victory Lap.
You can't break the rules, the fundamental rules. Be a man of your word. Do what you say you're gonna do. Respect people the way you would like to be respected.
But unlike many who find fame, Nipsey remained rooted in Crenshaw, opening businesses like the Marathon Store and a co-working space, Vector 90, aimed at providing opportunities for local youth.
This is an idea that Dave brought me in on, and it's two-pronged, it's too big to fail, and it's called Vector 90. And its top floor is the, inner city co-work, kind of in the vein of WeWork, you know what I mean?
The co-working space for entrepreneurs to come in, run out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and even just for a synergy of creative people to be in a room together and be able to bounce ideas and, have the intangible benefit of being around 12, 15 entrepreneurs that's from the same area.
He even strategized ways to reduce gang violence just days before his death. He was seen as a leader, someone who was actively working to change the narrative about his neighborhood.
When I was 18, I went to Eritrea for 3 months. Out the blue, I didn't even know I was going. My brother just was like, bro, we about to go back home. And I had a spot at that time. I was hustling. I had a studio. I was like knee deep in some young that I didn't really want to go. And I went out there for 3 months and it changed my life. I was sick the first 2 weeks. I was like culture shock, depressed. I ain't understand. I ain't know what to do out there. But after the first 2 weeks, I embraced what was going on. It's like I had to let go of what made me comfortable. I was smoking every day, riding around the hood in a car with rims. And once I got out of that, it changed my life.
Eric Holder Jr., known by his rap name Fly Mac, also harbored musical aspirations but struggled to gain traction.
Nigga blood dripping when I stick this full clip and any nigga get the dripping and my niggas get the chipping. We'll leave your ass missing when it's time to bust a mission. All the points you get the spit, then your flesh get the rip. Any nigga want a trick, you know I'm down to ride niggas.
Like Nipsey, he grew up in the same neighborhood. However, his life was marked by significant challenges. Diagnosed with auditory schizophrenia at age 19, he reportedly heard voices that contributed to paranoia and erratic behavior. He had a history of arrests, including for domestic violence and a gun charge in 2012 that resulted in jail time and probation. Compounding his difficulties, a past physical altercation had resulted in a severe head injury requiring brain surgery, which some believed exacerbated his mental health issues, leaving him paranoid and quick to anger. People who knew him said he changed after that injury. On the afternoon of March 31st, 2019, Eric Holder was in the area with a woman he had been seeing. They were looking for food when they spotted Nipsey outside his store. Holder got out of the car to speak with him. According to Nipsey's longtime friend Herman Douglas, also known as Cowboy, who was present, Nipsey saw Holder approach and remarked, "I wonder how this is going to unfold." The conversation that followed lasted about 4 minutes. This is where the story becomes clouded by conflicting accounts. According to some, Nipsey mentioned rumors circulating about Eric Holder cooperating with law enforcement, sometimes referred to as having paperwork, and advised him to address these rumors to clear his name. This label carries immense weight. One perspective suggests Nipsey told Holder he needs to clear his allegations up, presenting it as a piece of friendly advice.
Let's just say a minute conversation. You know what I mean? So you ain't seen your partner in a while. You ain't seen your associate. Y'all grew up together. Yeah. You ain't seen your friend in a while. He push up on you. Hey, and Nip say, some shit floating around, take care of it. Like on a homie tip, like, hey bro, like, look, I got some paperwork, nigga, you need to take care of it. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
the prosecution in Holder's trial indicated that one witness, Brianna Nicholson, overheard the word snitch.
What they were talking about?
He was saying a lot of cuz.
Who was?
Eric.
Okay. But could you hear what they were saying?
I didn't really kind of understand it, like what he was talking about, but I know to tell from the tension from Nipsey, he didn't really want to talk to him. Okay. Trying to get to me, to take the picture or whatever, trying to wait till he stopped talking.
Do you know why he wouldn't want to talk to him?
Because I guess the way he was just cuz, hey, you ever snitched on somebody, cuz this, cuz that.
That's what Nipsey was saying?
That's what Eric was saying. Nipsey wasn't saying nothing. He was just nah, nah, like that, know.
Did it sound like Eric was accusing him of snitching?
To me, it sounded kind of like he was trying to be a little messy.
However, other witnesses offered a different view. Herman Douglas testified that the word snitch was never used, either by Nipsey or Holder. Douglas described the conversation as a normal exchange between two acquaintances, with Nipsey offering advice to someone who hadn't been around recently, telling him about things going on.
Yeah, he was jumping out, a lot of people putting a lot of emphasis saying Nipsey called him a snitch. Nipsey never called him a snitch, not one time.
Adding another layer, another source suggests the interaction was actually about Holder wanting the group to listen to his new music, a request that was reportedly declined. So, what was said during those 4 minutes? Was it a direct accusation, a friendly warning, a rejection of his music, or something else entirely? The accounts differ significantly. From the outside looking in, you are left to weigh these testimonies and consider what you believe to be true, knowing that a direct recording of the conversation does not exist. Get in the comments and let me know your thoughts.
I'm just okay, what is he talking about? To myself, though. And then, but I can tell, by looking at Nipsey, or whatever, because, I'm waiting to take the picture, he looking he need to go on somewhere. That's how I got the impression. I didn't hear no arguing, and even when I took the picture and everything, I didn't hear no arguing. It was just casual, just talking, regular guy talk, I guess, Yeah, he was kind of a little aggressive, but some guys, that's just how they talk, so.
Who was aggressive?
To me, aggressive mean when you using slang words like cuz.
Well, which one?
Eric.
Whatever the exact words exchanged, Eric Holder left the immediate area, walking to a nearby burger restaurant.
And then exhibit number 10 was a short clip of the Master Burger footage. And it basically just shows Christian Johnson walking in while Eric Holder's ordering. And then Christian Johnson orders. And this clip is immediately after the 4-minute conversation that Eric Holder had with Nip. And if you look closely at Eric Holder, you can tell he's just thinking about that conversation he just had, and he seems a little frustrated and disappointed about that way the conversation went.
But while seated in the car, his behavior shifted dramatically. Brianna Nicholson allegedly saw him begin to manipulate a black semi-automatic handgun, loading bullets into the magazine. Alarmed, she reportedly told him, "You're not about to shoot from my car." Holder shrugged it off. He instructed her to drive around the block. As they drove, he told her to park in an alley and wait, stating he would be right back. At this point, the legal debate surrounding the shooting centers on whether Holder's actions constituted premeditation or a crime committed in the heat of passion. The prosecution argued that loading the gun in the car, driving around the block, and having his date wait in the alley demonstrated planning and deliberation. They said he had ample opportunity to change his mind. Holder's defense attorney, Aaron Jansen, argued it was a heat of passion crime, claiming that the perceived insult of being called a snitch in front of others, coupled with Holder's documented mental illness and fear, caused him to snap. The prosecution also suggested jealousy over Nipsey's success might have played a role. Regardless of the motive or legal interpretation, what happened next is clearly documented. Holder walked back toward the Marathon store through the alley. Surveillance video shows him approaching Nipsey and a small group of men standing near a car. Witnesses reported that as he walked up, he said, "You're through." Then he pulled out not one, but 2 handguns and opened fire. Nipsey Hussle was shot multiple times, with sources reporting figures of at least 10 or 11 shots. He fell to the ground. According to witnesses, his last words were, "You got me." 2 other men, Kerry Lathan and Shermai, were also struck by gunfire. After Nipsey was down, Holder reportedly walked back and fired additional shots, then delivered 2 kicks to Nipsey's head before fleeing. The prosecutor described this act as deeply personal. Holder ran back through the alley to the waiting car. His date, having heard the shots, initially hesitated but then drove away with him. She reportedly saw him stash 2 guns in a bag. She later stated that he seemed normal at first, but she had seen him loading the gun earlier. A large-scale manhunt for Eric Holder began. That night, he called his date, asking to stay at her mother's house, saying his place was dirty. The next day, he checked into a Motel 6, using her identification to get the room. As news of Nipsey's death spread, Holder's face appeared on reports. His date saw his picture on the news and recognized the vehicle police were looking for. She went to the police station, cooperating with a 5-hour interview and agreeing to searches of her phone, home, and car. She was granted use immunity for her testimony, meaning her statements in court could not be used against her. Eric Holder was eventually located and arrested near a mental health facility in Bellflower. An officer reported that he walked towards the police as they arrived and was arrested without incident. The trial of Eric Holder Jr. began over 3 years after the shooting. The defense did not dispute that Holder was the shooter, but focused on arguing for a lesser charge than first-degree murder, claiming the act was not premeditated, but one of heat of passion fueled by the confrontation and his mental state. The prosecution presented the surveillance video, witness testimony, and the evidence of Holder loading the gun as proof of premeditation. The trial faced challenges, with some key witnesses reportedly reluctant or refusing to testify. Notably, during the trial, Eric Holder was attacked by fellow inmates in a holding cell, suffering injuries that required stabbing to his head. Sources indicate the attack was carried out by a single inmate who was a fan of Nipsey Hussle. After deliberations, the jury delivered its verdict. Eric Holder Jr. was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Nipsey Hussle. He was also found guilty of 2 counts of attempted voluntary manslaughter related to the other 2 men injured, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He was found not guilty of attempted murder for the injured bystanders. In February 2023, nearly 4 years after the shooting, Eric Holder was sentenced to 60 years to life in state prison. This sentence included 25 years for the first-degree murder conviction, a consecutive 25 years for the firearm enhancement, and 10 years for the assault convictions related to the other victims. His attorney expressed disappointment with the sentence and stated they plan to appeal. Holder's life in prison is described as facing brutal challenges, including isolation and being targeted by other inmates who view him as a symbol of disrespect to Nipsey Hussle.
Guess who was on that bus with me? Eric Holder, nigga that killed Nip. Everything I love. He was right there on the same bus, and it's crazy because I'm chained up. I'm with a few homies. I'm with a homie from 60s too. Yeah. But he's in a cage though. He was PC'd up, but he was in the last cage, and I'm sitting right here. So like his cage is right here. I see him just look back. I'm like, what the fuck? And I tell the homie, I'm like, hey, I think that's old boy. Bam, I go bang on his window. Boom, boom, boom. He looks back. Everybody on the bus like, what the fuck? I swear to God. And then he's like, you Eric Holder? He's like, yeah. It shit went crazy. Everything I love. He got pissed on and some more shit, spit on.
They were pissing and spitting on him in the bus?
Hell yeah, squirting piss on his ass.
Somebody like him can't be, he has to not be in general population because he'll die.
As soon as we got to Delano, they stopped the bus over on the freeway. Like, man, y'all better chill out. Damn. So as soon as we got to Delano, he covered in piss. They take him out first. They put him away. He for sure PC'd up. Even on a PC yard though, he's fucked.
People love Nip. I'm saying you don't even got to be affiliated. You just yo, you fucking, what you did was fucked, bro.
Oh, yeah, even the homies, Mexicans, we tripping.
Rumors circulated immediately after the shooting about retaliation against Holder's family, although these reports remained unverified.
I know what kind of situations you can get into being from out there when you're in them streets, especially in his area. They kind of like notorious for notorious shit.
Nipsey Hussle's death left a profound void. The community grieved, and while fears of large-scale retaliation were present, sources indicate the city remained relatively silent in terms of widespread warfare following his passing. Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, spoke emotionally about the loss and the break in safety protocols at the store that day, noting that someone was usually armed and positioned by the door. He also commented on Eric Holder reportedly returning to the scene wearing a red shirt.
Number one, there's no red shirts in the hood. You can't buy no red shirt. No liquor store sell no red shirt. Number two, when a nigga come through the alley with a red shirt, that's the throw off, or the Bloods did it, or the Inglewood families did it, or the BPS did it.
Today, Eric Holder Jr. is serving a lengthy prison sentence, his name forever linked to one of hip-hop's most tragic days. But Nipsey Hussle's legacy endures. His vision for entrepreneurship and community empowerment continues to inspire, a stark contrast to the violence that ended his life. The conflicting accounts of that final conversation serve as a grim reminder of how rapidly events can escalate and how even simple interactions can carry unforeseen and devastating weight. The killing followed a conversation where Nipsey Hussle reportedly addressed rumors of Eric Holder cooperating with law enforcement, advising him to clear his name. However, additional potential factors discussed include Eric Holder's history of mental illness, paranoia, past brain trauma, and alleged jealousy or envy of Nipsey Hussle's success. Ultimately, while the defense argued it was a crime of passion, the prosecution contended it was premeditated, leaving the precise combination of motives complex and subject to differing interpretations. But why do you think he did it? Get in the comments and let me know, and make sure to share this video if you liked it.
Hopefully through his death we can change. We can all get together and let the marathon continue. That's the ultimate goal, to keep the legacy. Basically, Nip passed today. He's passing us the baton. Keep going. It's your turn. It's your turn. Run your lap. Nip did his lap on Earth. He did the victory lap. He did his lap. He did what he was supposed to do on Earth. So, what are we gonna do on Earth? What niche are we gonna leave?
Google the definition of marathon, and you will read a long-lasting or difficult task or operation of a specified kind. Nipsey Hussle and his brother set a vision into motion.
He inspired everybody to be different, inspired to be the businessman and cut the middleman out and be your own boss. And that's what hurts the most.
Let me know if you want to see an on-point video looking closer behind the Marathon brand.
Talk about the expansion of the business. What exactly are you opening? Where are you opening? Just elaborate that on a little bit.
Yep. I think we just recently opened up a burger restaurant called Marathon Burger. Mm-hmm. So it's on Melrose in Gardner.
Love that. Congratulations.
Come on, thank you. Yeah, so that we got lucky and got with a good business partner. We always had kind of some thoughts to venture off, and it was just the right time. And then we have the new Marathon clothing store that is under renovation. It's maybe like 4 blocks up on Melrose also. I think it'll be opening probably the earlier part of 2025. And it's being remodeled right now. And then we have the original Crenshaw and Slauson location. It's being remodeled. It's been turned into the Neighborhood Nip Foundation. So we're gonna try to operate that like a Boys and Girls Club.
I love that.
Yep. And,
Oh, that's amazing.
and we're gonna put a studio in that lot. And my brother went, and when he was younger, used to go to Watts, and they had a free program for the kids that would teach them how to record themselves and make beats. So he always spoke like highly about how important that was for him and for every kid that went to that program. Ended up when they became adults successfully pursuing careers in music. So I think for that location, that's one of the big things that the whole team is proud of. We're gonna have that same music program open up free, and the facility is just gonna be for kids only.